think we're going to start seeing a systematic shift in the general concept of investing. You see, the problem is, and what I try to break down on this channel is that as newer or inexperienced investors come into the market, they often get frustrated at their lack of results from early investments. Now, this is in part due to those one-off success stories that we see where people become overnight millionaires through high risk yet high reward endeavors. Now, in other words, these newer investors that are coming into the market, they are thinking and conceptualizing that they can do the exact same thing. And in this case, their definition of investing immediately when they're entering the market is really just a glorified term for gambling.
Gambling? Who said anything about gambling? It's not gambling when you know you're going to win.
What frustrates me the most is that it's the same wave of investors that leave the market so abruptly because it takes a turn for the worse. Oftentimes they lose their entire investment portfolios and they get really frustrated. They think the stock market is a scam, when in reality, there is so much potential to investing when done the right way. It can not only unlock your financial freedom and your future, but it also can change your entire community, those around you, and the generations that will follow you. So I'm also not here to sugarcoat it by any means. It's going to take a lot of money probably to see the types of returns that you want. And in return, it's also going to take a lot of time to get that going. But the best thing about investing is if you start young, time is the most valuable asset that you have. So I want to share a couple different scenarios with you on how investing really has the potential to change your entire life. And not only that, just talk about some of the general principles behind reinvesting, some dividend payments that are made, and how that's going to impact your portfolio as a whole. So let's just jump in. So I've gone over to MarketBeat to use their dividend calculator tool. This is a really cool website. If you haven't seen it before, you can toy around with different investments and see potential returns. And what's cool is the dividend functionality where you can look at the impact of reinvesting those dividends that are paid versus just pocketing them on the spot, right? And so one of the investments in my own stock portfolio is Johnson & Johnson or J&J. So I went ahead and I plugged in all the relevant data to understand a potential 25-year return from this investment. And these are the assumptions that I made for this scenario. The initial investment is $1,000, which gets us right around 6 shares. We're going to assume that we're not going to invest any more money, and we have a current dividend yield of 2.75%. We're going to go with the conservative annual dividend increase of 5%. And also year over year, this stock averages, I believe, around an 11% return, but we wanted to be conservative again and go with a 9% annual stock price increase. Now, again, that assumption we're making is it's going to be invested over the time span of 25 years. And this I'm going to be doing in a tax-free account, such as a Roth IRA. Whenever you're doing like dividend investing or, investing, you want to make sure that you're taking care of the tax codes, the tax laws, and doing it in the most beneficial way to you and your own portfolio. Okay, so for this first example, let's talk about what happens if you invest that $1,000 and you never touch it. You don't reinvest dividends that are being paid, and you just let the money sit. So your initial investment of $1,000 turns into $8,619.11, literally for doing nothing. This is why I love investing so much. All the while you were receiving payments from dividends that were still coming in. So at the very end, you would have received $1,306.62 in dividend payments, and that brings your total return from $1,000 to $9,925.73. Now for a change, let's say you reinvested those dividend payments. Now this is where the concept of the dividend snowball comes into play, because as the company pays their dividend, you would then reinvest it. You get more shares of their stock. It leads to your portfolio appreciating more in value, and then you receive a higher dividend payment that next go around, you reinvest that, it just keeps growing from there. And it gets really crazy the longer you can leave your money in the market. So your initial $1,000 investment in 25 years would then turn into $13,023.86. Now, if you remember in the last scenario, you didn't reinvest those dividends, but because you did here, you were able to capitalize on an additional $3,000 just because you reinvested those dividends. So you can see it's already making quite a big impact here. Super cool. Now let's think for a second. This is just off of an initial $1,000 investment. What if you had invested $25,000 from the beginning? You would have had a crazy return because this 13x'd your original investment. So now if you think, all right, let's get more methodical. Let's invest over a time span, over a period of time, and think about scenarios in that sense. Now, let's say we plan to invest around $1,000 a month, which equates to $12,000 annually. Now, without reinvesting dividends at the end of that 25-year span, you would be at $1,024,995.20. You would also have received an additional $115,627.41 from dividend payments, and the return totally would be $1,140,622.61. And in this scenario, had you just reinvested those dividends, you'd be sitting at $1.3 million, and you'd be receiving in completely passive income, just dividends that are being paid to you, $13,214 every single year. This is where time becomes everything, because if you can just hold off 5 more years, you'll have close to $1 million more. And 5 years after that, you'll have a balance close to $3.6 million, which would have been tripling your initial results. So if you don't reinvest dividends in this scenario, you'd end up with a total portfolio value of nearly $800,000 less than what you would have had you just been reinvesting over time. Now, the coolest thing about this concept is that's just one stock example, and definitely not the best example out there either. So there's so many other dividend stocks, some that pay higher dividend yields, that have produced greater results over a longer period of time, that really show that drastic difference between whether or not you reinvest the dividends or take them out. So it's really cool just to take a look at some of those. Another thing is there are so many people that get to the retirement age and they start living purely off of their dividend income, which I think is just super cool. I think by the end of the example there, we're up to around $19,000 annually, but I wanted to show you a quick calculation. If you wanted to receive any amount of dividend income, you know, monthly, annually, whatever it is, let me just jump into this equation. So as a dividend investor, this is one of my favorite equations to look at. Let's say there's a number in your mind. I wanted to make $500 every single month for the rest of my life through dividend income. So I'd take that 500, I'd multiply it by 12 to understand how much I need annually. And then I'd take a quick peek at an investment to understand its dividend yield to factor into this equation. So SCHD is one that I invest in, it's an ETF focused on dividends, and it has a dividend yield right now of 3.59%. So I'm going to divide that $6,000 number by 0.0359, and I would need $167,130 in order to achieve that goal. So it looks like a daunting number up front, but as you can tell, like from the rest of the video, when you break it down, it just seems so much more attainable, especially when you're getting like 13x your investment, or you're making a lot more. It's just having the, I guess, discipline to be able to continue investing into the stock market, even when you don't really want to, and trying to leverage your money in the best way possible. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for checking out this video. If you did take anything away, please hit that like button. I'd really appreciate it. Subscribe, I don't know, whatever the normal people say. Thanks, guys.
Have a great day.